But if it isn't, I'd still say let's dive in and see if we've got the gumption to deal with it 2 years from now.
I really like that slide. I think it's a great slide, and I like the whole idea of a stronger commitment to translational research. And you did mention the biomedical aspect, but could you share some thoughts on other areas outside of biomedical research that could be translational?
Yes, so certainly computer science, Carolina has done quite a lot to help the military and to help the motion picture and entertainment industry. I think I lost track of how many Pixar employees are graduates of our computer graphics program, but it's a big, big number. And so that's an area where we've really, really succeeded. Then I think it depends on how you, whether you characterize a lot of what we do in the social sciences as being biomedical or not. But as you probably know, Carolina, through its Population Center and the Odom Institute, is one of the truly top places for population research and the documentation of demography and the digitization of that. And I think a lot of that is being realized on a number of fronts internationally and also in the South in particular. So I think there's a lot of applied social science, and I think there in computer science is certainly done well. There's some stuff in physics and chemistry that is applied to other things other than biomedicine. But we don't have an engineering school. We also have a lot of applied environmental work that we're doing. So those are some of the areas.
Well,
Yeah.
How will the state budget impact you folks? At 11:30, the governor released her budget to the public. I suspect she told her some goals ahead of time.
Yeah, thankfully we weren't surprised at 11:30. Yeah. The governor has recommended a 7% cut to our budget. And we'll have to wait and see how that evolves. We put out documents that showed what impact 7% budget cut would have on our university. And we're definitely, there's no way around the fact that we're going to have to reduce some number of employees. And we're probably going to have to look at some things that we're doing that we're going to have to get out of. Like I said, universities are not good at ending things, but we're going to have to end a few things here in the next few months. And I think the thing that Tony and I are trying to do is go ahead and figure out what it is and go ahead and do it, so that we can move on, and that the people who need to make transitions, so we can go ahead and help them do that. So it's painful, but the only way to gain an advantage is to be the university that emerges from this the soonest. And so procrastinating, confronting this is really not something that's going to be rewarded by anyone, including the people who need to make a change. I mean, the sooner we can begin helping them make a transition, the better off they are. So it's incredibly painful. But I think one of the things, Carolina, so far, we have been able to keep the dialogue, I think, very collegial, and we're fortunate for that. But we've worked really hard at making sure everybody, we've posted documents that I think other universities probably wouldn't have disclosed. But that's kind of always the way we've done things, and certainly the way I intend to do things. So I think people feel well informed. Yeah, Rudy.
Do you have a quantitative idea to what extent the stimulus package will benefit the research budget, and so what the is?
Right, so we know, for example, how much money is going to go to NSF and NIH. And we know what percentage of the NIH and NSF budgets we get. So you could make an assumption that all the new proposals will be funded at the same rate as the old ones. And if you do that, there's probably $100 million new dollars that would come to Chapel Hill. But there's a big assumption there, and that is that there's a totally smooth distribution of proposals as you go further and further down the percentiles. And that's probably not a fair assumption. One interesting fact, the UNC Carolina School of Medicine is number 11 in NIH funding in the country. They're number 3 in dollars per faculty member. And I think that goes back to what I was saying about how good we are at getting money for individual investigators. But 2.1% of the NIH budget comes to Chapel Hill. And there's about 150 medical schools. So we're doing pretty well there. So if it's 2.1% just for medicine, and there's 10 billion new NIH dollars, you can figure out how much that is. That's $50 million just for medicine. Yeah.
Your comment about the focus of young students overseas intrigues me. Why has this happened? Is this because it has become a block check for students who want to get into particularly noteworthy universities, or is there more to it?
No, I don't think, I think study abroad is very much on the rise, and that's good. So I'm not trying to say we should steer away from that. In fact, people ask me all the time if there's something that I would have done differently with my education. And that's a very easy question. I would have learned more languages, and I would have studied abroad. Those are two things. I spent too much time doing chemistry and not enough time doing a little of that time doing those two things. I think that what has happened is that Jeffrey Sachs and Bono and Brad Pitt and a handful of other people have done a very good job of helping us do something that we've been very bad at, which I just said my generation was terrible at. My generation didn't know what was going on in the world at all.